I tried to get financing from the dealer, but it just wasn't happening, so I took a credit card that had $10,000 limit and bought it. It came 1 day shipping, and it is the most beautiful thing I've ever seen. Update. The guitar is effing fake.
No! Well, howdy hi, welcome back to the channel. Today, we are joined by my beautiful, my wife, and we're gonna be... Today we're joined by my wife, and we will be checking out music-related stories on Reddit.
Heck yeah.
I'll basically be blind reacting to most of these, and she'll be reading, because she's a better reader than I am. Because I'm a guitarist. The guitarist can't read.
Like, they are literally illiterate.
So am I right in saying some of these you found in Emma the A-hole, and some of these are... Where are these from?
So these are from all over Reddit. We have a few from Emma the A-hole. We have a few from, like, Today I F'd Up. Some True Off My Chest. So, I will, of course, say where they're from, plus who posted them. We don't want H-Bomber guy coming after us. Our first story is from Emma the A-hole.
Okay.
By user FHDKS Throwaway.
Okay.
Now you know if it's a throwaway, it's gonna be a good story.
Yeah, they're scared to use their actual account. Or they have a loved one who's involved with the story. That
sometimes like a cousin knows their Reddit or something.
Yeah,
like
they don't.
that.
Somebody know.
So this one. Am I the a-hole for buying a $50,000 guitar for $4,000 and refusing to sell it back when the buyer found out the real value?
Oh, that is pretty rough.
I mean, you've gotten guitars.
I've gotten guitars for a really good deal. Like my 7-string and my main 6-string that people have seen in videos, I got, but they were marked down at a store.
People knew their value.
They knew what their value was, but they're older stock, so they were like willing to, give them away for less. So I'm assuming this is a private seller. This is like a thing where he's like, I found this guitar in an old shop. Somebody, I'll take $4,000, and then didn't do their Googling. So I'm gonna, personal opinion, you sold it, it's mine, you didn't know the value, and you listed it for $4,000. For example, when I go into secondhand stores to look for guitars, I go look at the guitar, look at the prices, then I do some Googling, and then if they have listed it poorly, I'm buying it. It's not really my problem if they've undervalued it. But let's find out.
Let's find out. This happened a while back. My wife and I still talk about it every once in a while. She's on my side, and most of our friends and family are. However, when it happened, it was like World War III between us and her co-workers and others. Here we go. I've been playing the guitar for 22 years. I know guitar values and whatnot very well. I'm very into the guitar market. At my wife's old company, she was hanging out with coworkers one day after work, and she mentioned that I play guitar. A coworker, who I guess is very popular at work, said that his dad passed away, and he was selling his dad's things. His dad had a guitar and asked my wife if I'd be interested in it. My wife texted me and I said to have him send me the info on the guitar and the price.
Send me some pictures, yeah.
The next day he texted me the pics and price. It was a 1952 Telecaster in mint condition.
Ooh, yeah! I'm buying that, yeah.
He had the original receipts, which was crazy.
Oh.
That's how I knew the date. I asked what he wanted for it, and he said he looked up Telecasters online.
Oh no!
And thinks $4,000 is fair.
Oh, that's upsetting.
I texted back, I'll take it for $4,000, and went to pick it up.
Yeah, no negotiation. That's cool. That's cool.
The guitar had no sentimental value to him at all.
Oh.
Here's the issue at hand. The guitar was, or is, worth approximately $15,000, depending on the buyer, and I knew it. When I got the guitar, I told my wife the price and what it was worth. She was floored. Fast forward 2 weeks, her coworker tells my wife he just found out what the guitar was actually worth from a family friend and wanted it back. She said, well, he really likes the guitar and he knew it was worth $15,000.
No, now I'm mad at the wife.
Which is why he was floored you offered it to him for $4,000. He really likes it and I doubt he will sell it back, but you can ask. Probably not the smartest thing for her to say, but she was caught off guard and it's not her fault or problem.
Very nice of this guy. Nice of him. Champion your wife.
He contacted me and asked to buy it back. I said that it's not for sale. He then said I scammed him and he was going to sue me and take my wife to HR for being part of the scam, which was nuts. But he actually did contact HR. They were cool about it and said it's not their problem. It's between him and me. Over the next few months, he made things very uncomfortable for my wife at work.
That sucks.
He would bug her constantly about it. She eventually had to go to HR for harassment and they actually let him go. She complained twice and he was warned and didn't stop.
No.
He's contacted me several times about it, so I got a restraining order for harassment too. I blocked him too. I haven't heard from him in about a year.
That's when...
Am I the a-hole? I think no. I think we're gonna stick with no.
I think I'm sticking with no. So, like, okay. Is it a little, like, maybe a little scummy to be like, sure, I'll take it for 4,000. No sentimental value. That does seem about right. So
there's a reason they talk about the sentimental value, because it was the co-worker's dad's.
Yeah. So, okay, let me put it this way. If a friend of mine, you know, a fellow musician who's close to me, who I care about, messages me and is like, I found this guitar, can you help me figure out the value? I'm looking to sell it for this much. I looked up. And if I, for some reason, know that this has happened, where somebody, what's the value on this guitar? And I was able to tell them, it's more than you think. Yeah. Or it's less than you think. Sometimes it goes the other way and that sucks. If it was a friend. But if it's just some guy who works with my wife, we're not close, we're not friends. You're selling a product, I'm buying a product. He's not wrong.
Yeah.
But it's like...
Well,
the fact that he, like, the seller went on to, like, arrest them and they needed a restraining order, that's rough.
There's an update with a little extra context.
Ooh, okay. Yummy!
So, well, this post blew up way beyond what I was expecting. It looks like I was voted not the asshole. Okay.
Yeah,
Understandably
I agree,
voted,
yeah.
not the a-hole. There's over 5,000 comments. I couldn't read them all, but I did read a lot, just to clear up some things. I left some things out because I didn't want to influence opinions and really wanted it to be about me buying a guitar at a significantly lower market value versus the people in the story.
It's always a good sign with these. Because if somebody's trying to hide stuff to make themselves look better...
Exactly.
The fact that the title immediately said, I bought a thing for less than it's worth.
Yeah. I did include the fact that the guy was harassing my wife at work, not to make the guy sound bad, but because I thought it was relevant to the story. Here's some specific details I chose not to include. The guy and his dad were not close at all, so those people saying he was grieving and I took advantage of him, that's 100% not the case.
No.
When I went to get the guitar, he was telling me he hadn't talked to his dad in 6 years and was actually annoyed he had to deal with a funeral.
Ooh.
The dad bought the guitar new and never played it.
Oof.
Luckily, it was stored in a closet and not in a basement or attic.
Yeah.
There's no issue with the wood or electronics. It plays like a dream, and I couldn't be happier.
I'm so happy for him.
This is a pretty big thing for me. I am not selling the guitar to the son or anyone. It will be with me for a long time. I'm in my 30s, so maybe in 30 years it will find a new home. He did buy it to keep it.
Yeah, he didn't scalp it to make a profit. Okay, now I'm 100% on the original, on the OP's side.
I would have maybe considered giving the guy more money or giving him one of my guitars to sell on his own, but I decided not to do that after he left a terrible voicemail on my phone the day he found out the real value. He demanded it back like he was entitled to an object he sold fair and square, called me a POS, called my wife a POS, and said he would do bad things if I didn't sell him the guitar back. And
For those listening at home, that's a piece of poop.
Yes. And to those people who say, I love this part by the way, and to those people who say they would have told the guy the real value, that's a load of horse scheisse.
Yeah.
If you went to a garage sale or estate sale and saw an item worth $5,000 priced at $50, there's not a snowball's chance in hell you would walk up to the homeowner and tell them they mispriced it.
Yeah, no.
You'd buy the item and then tell all your friends and family what a great score you got.
Yeah, what a great deal. Yeah, no, it's absurd to me. People want to climb on their high and mighty.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I kind of, like I said, with a very close friend, somebody who like, if I didn't have a personal stake and stood to gain a really nice $15,000.
So $50,000. So he bought it for $4,000. It's worth $50,000.
That is such. I'll put up sort of what I assume the guitar looks like based on the listing. Yeah, if it's a very vintage telly, that adds up. Those are incredible guitars. I'm 100% on his side for the fact that he's going to use it. If I found a guitar like that, priced like that, and that could hang on my wall, you scored, boy. That guy, he got slept. He didn't Google properly. He Googled. What I love is he just Googled Telecasters.
He could have. I mean, he had family who clearly knew the value of guitars. He could have asked.
But the fact that he didn't like that he wasn't close to the dad, if he was close, like if he had a better relationship with his father, then maybe he would have known the value. Maybe his dad would have been like, "Oh, this guitar is so special to me.
So true.
It's sentimental to me, but it's also worth a lot. I bought it cheap when it came out because I'm an old man. He probably bought it when he was young.
Yeah.
Oh, that guitar! I'm so happy for the OP. I'm so happy.
Next one.
Next story.
Also from Am I the A-hole? From user 76HKREMD. Am I the a-hole for buying my dream guitar? My fiance is threatening to leave me over it.
Okay, so before we get started, the fact that he's framing it as like, am I wrong for just buying my dream guitar?
It's always...
It's a bad sign.
Always... Okay, I say that, like, usually those kinds of where you like, when it looks really innocent, they're always the butthole.
Yeah.
But like, when it looks like, it's kind of like, I murdered my wife, am I the a-hole? And then you read the context and you're like, oh, no, you're not.
Yeah.
But like when it's like, I bought my wife flowers, am I the a-hole?
Yeah.
Like, there's always something.
Am I wrong for just buying my dream guitar? If my wife wants to leave little old me, I'm gonna go ahead on a limb and say this guy sucks. But let's find out.
I've been playing guitar since I was about 8 years old. I'm 22 now. It's always been my dream to own a pre-1960s Gibson Les Paul.
Ooh.
So, first off, pre-1960s Gibson Les Paul, would you...
I'm not a big Les Paul guy. They're too heavy for me. But if I found one, that's not my dream guitar.
Yeah.
But it is a guitar I would love to own one day for certain, like for studio use.
Is it a guitar worth losing a fiance over?
Wait, is he losing his wife or his fiance?
It's his fiance.
Yes, it is worth losing your fiance. Yes. Okay.
I just happened to be Googling around and found one literally exactly exactly like I wanted. It's an ebony finish with gold 3 pickups and gold hardware. It was literally too good to pass up.
Pretty rare, yeah. I'll put up an image if I understand correctly.
I mean, once in a lifetime, we'll never find again. Had to buy it, never had the chance again opportunity. I tried to get financing from the dealer, but it just wasn't happening. So I took a credit card that had $10,000 limit that I'd had since college and bought it. It came 1 day shipping, and it is the most beautiful thing I've ever seen. It looks and plays like a dream.
That's a lot of money.
My fiance is furious that I didn't consult with her. In my take, our money is our money and she shouldn't panic. Her take is that I put our financial future at risk for something silly. I'm trying to tell her it's not even a risk since these guitars always go up in value and it's been my dream. She refuses to see this, and to prove it to her, the music store I bought it from is willing to buy it back from me, but she's mad now that I won't just sell it back, so I shouldn't have said that because I'm never getting rid of this guitar.
Yeah.
She is also mad about putting it on a credit card, but to me, that's exactly what credit cards are for, to buy once-in-a-lifetime things that we can't afford on the spot. She says that's not true at all, so I guess we just have to disagree over this because that will never be how I see it. This isn't a relationship advice post because I'm not selling or getting rid of the guitar. I want to know if I really was an a-hole for buying it in the first place.
Okay. Isn't nuance fun? They're not married. Okay.
Yeah.
At least from a legal standpoint, depending on relationship to relationship, it's his credit card he's had since college. I think you're going to say...
Legally.
But it's their financial future. Yeah, they are getting married. He's going into that marriage
with a bunch of debt.
Yeah,
exactly.
And $10,000.
$10,000 is like, that's a lot.
It depends. Obviously, you could probably put a deposit down on a house with that.
No, easily. I mean,
depending on where you live,
yeah. You came into our marriage with a little bit of debt for necessities, like for your motorcycle.
Yeah, that was like...
And you felt guilty about that.
Yeah.
So, like, imagine just buying guitar without consulting your fiance.
Okay, also, this is a layer maybe he didn't really touch on, but he's 22. That's a guitar that maybe I would buy in my 30s. Yeah. Even if you have to finance it. Because here's the thing, he brings up, I couldn't finance it from the store. It's the same. Okay, so I almost want to defend him. Depending on your credit card, it might cost less to get it with a credit card and pay it off over time than it would have to been financing it. Some stores do like a pretty severe percentage on the the interest if you finance it. It's a lot of money. Does a 22-year-old need his dream guitar? So that's like, those are the layers that I'm seeing here. Is, does a 22-year-old really need his dream guitar?
Yeah.
I don't know my dream guitar yet. Where I'm at, I'm going to consult with my wife. We're going to make the financial decision to buy my dream guitar at some point.
Exactly.
So a little bit, yeah, maybe he's a little bit of the a-hole.
So, some comments.
Okay.
You're the asshole.
Yeah.
And they quote him, "In my take, our money is our money. Our money, not my money.
Yeah.
It means you decide together how to spend it."
Yeah, he even said it.
And then someone said, "Don't get married at 22 and you would probably have more money to spend on once."
Yeah.
Which was funny to me, because we got married at 22.
Yeah, that's exactly how old we were. Like, I don't have an issue with him getting married at that age. That's a decent age.
He does seem a little immature to get married.
Yeah, every individual, will have a different... 10 grand in dollary dues is a lot of monies.
You're the a-hole. If you're buying stuff that expensive without even consulting her, she has a reason to be mad. I'd be mad. Our money means nothing when you don't consult the other person that makes it an hour. A lot of people also said that's not what credit cards are for.
Yeah. Oh, sorry, I didn't even touch on that.
That's
not what credit cards are for. Yeah, 100%.
Okay. Update. The guitar is effing fake.
No! Oh no, this is so juicy. Oh, it's so good. Oh, that's so funny. So he put his relationship in jeopardy for a fake guitar he spent $10 freedom dollars on.
Freedom dollars?
I heard Linus Tech Tips refer to dollars as freedom dollars. Oh, I need a moment. Oh, it hurts, because I can imagine myself, like, you got overexcited. There's no way they're taking that guitar back then.
Actually, I called them when the dude on here shared the link to see if I could get an appraiser, and they said they've been trying to call me for a few days. I just talked with the music store that sold it to me, and they said an employee mislabeled it and put it online when they shouldn't have. They are refunding my money, including shipping. That was a roller coaster of a day. Wow, nothing lost, I guess. Except trust in your relationship!
It's kind of like the opposite situation of what the previous one was.
Right?
Yeah, because I'm glad he got his money back. Or his credit card refunded.
Yeah.
Yeah,
because he didn't have that money to begin with.
I literally have a pain in my side, because I immediately thought the worst, that he got scammed. Because he didn't say he got scammed. It was a fake. The guitar was a fake. That does happen. Did he say pre-60s?
Yeah, pre-60s
guitars. There are counterfeit guitars, not just like guitars with different labels, but like full-on counterfeits. It's a bigger problem than I think some people want to admit. I think there are people who have guitars they're proud of, that they paid a lot of money for, that don't have the know-how to know that it's counterfeit. I'm pretty sure I saw
this kid. I do think...
He's 22, he doesn't know anything.
He's 22. I don't think, like, based on how he's talking, I don't think he is, like, even... I think he's more of that, like, guitar guy that, like, enjoys music and saw this guitar and really loves it and loves the way it sounds, and probably one of his idols plays this guitar, and, like, he's not a professional.
I've seen a counterfeit guitar in person, and you have to know what you're looking for. I like, after the guy pointed out what to look for, I started seeing, this is definitely a counterfeit. But, like, so now I know what I'm looking at, but it's, at the time, it just looked like a guitar to me. I guess, not like you said, nothing lost. Talk to your significant others. Don't do stuff like that.
I mean, most of the time, like, your significant other... In a healthy relationship, your significant other wants you to have what you want to have. Like, I know that one day you want to have a Strandberg, and I want us to work towards you getting a Strandberg. But you're not going to go and spend all of your credit card on buying a Strandberg today.
So much money.
Because we consult, and we're like, okay, right now, this is the priority, and then we can look at it.
The different thing we save our money in.
But you're talking to me, we're communicating, we're planning.
I hope it worked out for him. I hope it did work out with him with the guitar, but I hope the relationship works out and he matures.
I hope he matures.
Yeah.
This is from Today I Effed Up. Okay. And the user is Scrubby Dubby Bubby. Scrubby Dubby Bubby.
Fun.
Scrubby Dubby Bubby. Today I effed up by not using a guitar pick.
Okay.
This happened about 7 months ago. I was playing my guitar at an acoustic gig.
Well, then technically it's not today I freaked out. It's 6 months ago I freaked out. Okay. Keep going.
I was playing my guitar at an acoustic gig at the local cafe. So while a lot of people use guitar picks, I prefer to use my hands because
Do
I
we
like...
need to tell people what a guitar pick is?
I assume, like, almost everyone knows what a guitar pick is.
A
but-
guitar pick.
Guitar
you,
pick.
You use instead of your hands to,
of your feet.
instead of just. It's not just people. Like I use my nails. People have noticed I've got long nails. I do classical technique a lot of time, but picks. It's a different tone. It's not just to protect your fingers. It's a different tonal choice.
So I prefer to use my hands because I like the feel of it and I feel more comfortable with it. I'd been growing out my nails for a while. So it's fun.
Yeah. He's also doing the classical technique thing.
While I was performing a song with a fast strumming pattern, Wake Me Up by Avicii, my lower E string got stuck in my nail, making a weird noise, and I felt a sharp pain in my index finger. I instantly stopped playing and bent down, grabbing my hand. When I looked at my hand, I saw that the nail on my index finger was torn like paper and was pulling halfway back. I let out a scream, and one of the cue guys came to my aid. I could hear people whispering stuff like, OMG, that looks horrible, and stuff. It hurt like a bitch, and I went off stage for about 20 minutes. The pain was coming and going as the nail was moving. I asked them to put a rough dressing over it, some cotton and betadine. I asked for a pick and finished the song. Horribly so. What a committed guy.
'Cause, like, so I love that strumming pattern. I love that song, and that's that like.
Oh yeah, that's it.
So play that without a pick. I can imagine, because that I would definitely play with it. So I know exactly what happened. Like as he came up, probably the index finger that will have sucked.
My mates took me to the ER and the doctor numbed my finger and pulled the nail straight out. Felt like a little pain. Still had a bulb-shaped dressing on my finger for about 5 weeks.
The fact that he finished the gig. Yeah.
TLDR, didn't use a pick to play the guitar. Nail got stuck in the string and got shredded. Had a bulb-shaped dressing on my finger for a month.
Yo, and if he's a gigging musician, that sucks. Being out of commission for a month.
Okay, there's a great joke.
Okay.
Playing guitar with your fingernails or ripping them off. Take your pick.
Take your...
Like, thank you, Twin Marsh. Thank you, user Twin Marsh.
Comment of the year.
That deserves an upvote.
Yeah.
Edit, for everyone asking for evidence, I managed to dig up this from my old phone. It's shaky/blurry because it was taken while I was in the ER lobby thingy, going to get looked at. Can't believe I just spent the last 20 minutes trying to find a picture to post on the internet to convince strangers that my story is real.
Do we have a picture?
We have a picture.
It's definitely someone who went to the ER.
Someone, like, you can put this on screen, like, that's clearly...
It's there.
Something happened.
Yeah.
So... Yeah. Did you keep the nail? Won't need a pick ever again.
Oh, that's because I've injured my ring fingernail. I caught it in a door.
Ooh.
And it literally grows out wrong.
If you had a Patreon,
Which I don't.
You don't know. But if you had a Patreon, who would be your top supporter?
Probably Beetlegrizz.
Beetlegrizz is a cool name.
It's a really cool name, and it would hypothetically be a person who's been supporting me for a while on Patreon.
So hypothetically, thank you to Beetlegrizz.
Yeah. If anyone else wanted to check out if there's a Patreon, which there's not.
There's not.
There would be links in the description.
It's a waste of time, but I mean, wasted time is time well spent.
Patreon/Peter Cleff definitely doesn't exist.
Definitely doesn't exist. This is from True Off My Chest, and I am adding it in here because I'm convinced this is you.
Okay.
User is Joel the Connor. My wife cannot sing.
That's not me. My wife can sing.
I will never say this to her, but I have to say it to someone. My wife, who is amazing and strong and gorgeous and an incredible wife and mom, thinks she has a pretty singing voice. She doesn't. She cannot sing in tune to save her life, especially when she tries to harmonize. I'm a musician and a bit of a pitch tone freak. She really wanted to join me on our church's band some years ago, but I was able to dissuade her. I absolutely love it when she sings because it's her passion coming out, and I never want to do anything to make her want to stop, but every once in a while, like 3 minutes ago, I have to leave the room because the off-key pitch is like nails on a chalkboard. Whew, I feel better. Thanks for reading. Or not.
Oh. My heart? It's not me. You sing it.
No, I kid.
You have done, my wife has done some backing vocals on some of my videos. Yeah, it's rough, because the fact that he added, because it's her passion.
Yeah.
That's like, that's rough. Because if she was just like, whatever, just singing a little bit every now and then, the fact that she thinks she can sing well, and what are you gonna do? You can't tell her. I don't think you...
This is obviously not relationship advice.
Yeah.
Although we should see if some musicians have been seeking relationship advice. That could be fun.
That could be a fun video.
Comment if you want to see musicians seeking relationship advice. Get her some singing lessons. Like, that'd be super. Like, just be like, hey, wifey, like,
do you want to improve?
You're so. I love how you sing. I'd love to work with you. I love how excited you are. Would you like to take some vocal lessons? Like, I think like you've got the talent. Now let's teach you the skills.
I wouldn't lie, but
okay, fair.
Okay, so I am of the opinion, and by the way, Jacob Collier agrees with me. Anyone can sing.
And Jacob Collier has won like 66 Grammys.
I am of the opinion, not everyone, there is the argument that talent is a myth. That you can have a head start because of circumstances, or maybe there is a genetic thing of what we can debate whether or not talent exists, but that's a jump start.
Yeah.
You have to work to get better at it. You have to practice. Absolutely. Music is a skill set. It is, it's not just like some people are more talented than others. There's a great thing about ADHD that some people are, like, we gravitate towards things that we're immediately good at.
Yeah.
And then that makes us happy, because if we're not immediately good at a thing, it demotivates us and we don't want to put in work. It kind of makes me sad to know how many people maybe weren't immediately good at music and could have been really great. I think classical string instrument, like string players, violinists, cellists and stuff, will prove that they just start very young. You put a cello in the hand of a 6-year-old and take him lessons, he's gonna be a competent musician at some point. And obviously, like I said, it's a nuanced discussion. I'd love to have I'd actually love to make a video about this.
I think it's especially with art, a lot of it is practice. You can have a certain inclination towards being good at a certain art, but when it comes to art, a lot of it is practice. You can be decent at art and get incredible with art, or you can be bad at art and get really good at art.
Yeah. Especially with vocals. I've met people who went for vocal lessons even though they weren't great and came out competent, able to harmonize. I've met some young musicians who you just need to put in some work. So that's my advice. I would say buy some vocal lessons.
So the top comment had me nearly crying. I have a really, really bad singing voice. Like, even my dad can't stand listening to me. I cringe when I hear my voice, but one of the sweetest things my boyfriend ever told me was, you have an awful singing voice, but hearing you sing is music to my ears. I fell in love with him even more.
Oh, because we're sort of touching on a lot of topics here, but somebody said a beautiful thing, that it's one of the biggest lies of capitalism, that for your art to be worth something, it has to be good enough to be sold. And I say this as a person who does make music for a living and does sell my art. I sell my work on Fiverr and I perform as a musician. That's not what makes it good, though. The fact that somebody's willing to pay for it. And I think, for example, I'm not like really good at photography yet.
Yeah.
And I'm not like exceptional at painting, but I like doing it.
Yeah.
So I think that's something. It should be okay to sing badly, and just love singing.
Just have fun, especially when it's like your partner and they're. I mean, I guess she wants to sing like the original person wants to sing in the band and thinks she is good.
Okay, yeah, because that's another layer. Is like you have to be good.
Yeah, her partner's trying to save her that, but like.
Because people can be cruel. I guess is another thing. So it is nuanced. What was it? Where was this posted? Off my chest. Just off my chest. Yeah. Glad he got it off his chest.
Got it off his chest. Felt better.
Like I said, he could vocal coach could definitely go a long way, but also I feel for you, man. I feel for you.
Okay, I wanted to end on this one because this is gold.
Okay.
So this is again from Today I Effed Up.
Fun.
And it's by user Mags Not Maggie.
Okay.
Today I effed up by falling for a starving musician's absurdly excellent strategy for getting laid.
Ooh.
Obligatory. So this happened back in my early 20s, but I
So then technically it's not today. Sorry.
Obligatory, so this happened back in my early 20s, but I consider it an F-up for reasons that will become clearer if you read on, or just skip to the TLDR for the boring short version. I met a guy through mutual friends at an after-work meetup, and after some chatting, he came through with that old chestnut, we should go out sometime. Seemed like a good idea at the time, so I agreed.
Shoot your shot.
Yeah. We thumbed our respective numbers into each other's mobile phones, and when he called a couple of days later, we arranged to meet at a bar/restaurant for a couple of drinks and then dinner. When I got to the bar, I looked around for him and was a little surprised to see that he was sitting at the piano. At first I thought it was one of those places where they let anyone with moderate talent have a go, but it was a rather upscale restaurant, so it didn't seem likely. I walked over and said hello. He finished playing the piece and then sheepishly admitted that he was actually working there. That was a little weird, but I went with it.
Okay.
The plan was, he said, for us to hang out and have a few drinks while he played. And then when his set was up, we could go for dinner because he really didn't have a lot of money, but he wanted to take me someplace nice anyway. And he got a free meal during his break from his gig.
Okay, so I just want to interrupt this. So I know how this ends. I know how this the original poster has framed it. I just want to say, there's nothing wrong with like gigging as a gigging musician. I don't really do as many restaurant gigs anymore, but that was like early stages of my career. That was 90% of my gigging was playing background music while people ate and getting a very small paycheck, but like getting a free meal. There's nothing wrong with that. Did I ever take you out to a place where I was gigging? I've definitely...
You've taken me to, gigs, but not for the purpose of
I just realized
getting
I've
food.
definitely done this. In my early... before we met.
Other girls.
Yeah, I definitely...
No, you've never dated any other girls.
You're right. One of my female friends... that was definitely an early date thing that I did. It was like, hey, I'm playing a gig at this... like a really nice Italian place. Did some music there, and then I got a pizza as my...
as payment.
No, I got food.
Paid.
I got paid, but then for the food,
paid you.
Not just in food. I was somewhere in between working for food and getting paid well. And then I ordered a pizza as my free meal and shared it with the lass. It's a pretty good way to get a date on a budget.
I mean, she's going to see you perform, and I guess if he was more straightforward about
he didn't. Let's say, hey, I'm gigging and I get a free meal. Do you want to come?
Yeah, if she's going to see you perform and you also give her a meal and it's bonuses, it's free. Especially when you are a starving musician.
But the fact that he primed it as no, we're going on a date, and then she gets there. That's a little scummy. That's not the
best part of the story. Okay. I almost decided to bail right then and there, but he was a pretty good pianist and he had a decent voice. I shrugged mentally and figured I would stay and listen for a polite length of time and then make some lame excuse. I sat on a chair next to the piano and nursed a couple of Cuba Libres while he played.
Sounds sweet and lovely.
At some point, he said, "It's kind of loud in here." Admittedly true, the bar was getting pretty rowdy. Then he scooted over and patted the piano bench. I scrunched on next to him so we could hear each other over the sound of the piano and the people talking.
I guess he's playing and they're chatting.
Yeah. Little did I know that this was the first step in his dastardly plan. Well, I sort of knew. I mean, it was an obvious ploy to get me to sit closer. Newsflash, guys. You're usually not as subtle as you think you are.
Yeah, and we suck at that.
But I thought that it was all it was, and I was so wrong. A few songs later, he just stopped and told me, ever since you said you'd go out with me, I've had this tune in my head. It's like something beamed it into me, and I can't stop thinking about it. And then he played a few notes. Then he tried out a few chords. Then a few more notes and chords. Changed keys. Fiddled with the time signature. Diddled around with the high keys. Improvised a bit. Piano playing intensifies. Pretty soon, this vague melody starts turning into an actual song. With a chord progression, notes, fills, and damn, it's pretty darn good. I'm digging being right there as the creative process happens. He keeps looking at me and changing things, and every time he does, it gets a tiny bit better, and finally it's almost perfect. Wow, he says. It's like it just came to me. The music was there, sitting right next to me or something. I blush. Perhaps heave a bosom or two. And then the coup de grace. I think I'll call it Maggie's Song, he says. And that, my friends, closed the deal. I decided that if he wanted to delve into the treasures of the Sierra Maguis, he would not need no stinking badges. And then, as if by magic, his friend the bartender, who I was introduced to earlier, comes over and tells us that if we wanted to have dinner, he could clear us a table. We had some nice conversation, finished our dinner. He at least paid for the whole thing. I would have gladly gone halvesies, even though his meal was on the house. And then he went back to his gig for another hour or so. Interlude. I should have figured it out right then, because at one point he announced to the bar that he was going to play an original song inspired by the beautiful girl sitting next to me. And then he played the song straight through. No errors or hesitation, no pauses to tweak this or that, but I was so starstruck at hearing Maggie Song's public debut and a little embarrassed by the attention that I completely missed the obvious.
I feel so bad for her, because sorry. Gotta respect the hustle.
Gotta respect.
Like, okay. Because I know where this is going.
We made it to his apartment. Barely, I admit to some fairly racy back of the cab macking. I assume these people are British.
Yeah, that's a very English.
I was only mildly disconcerted by A, his 3 roommates, B, the fact that his room's furnishings consisted of an end table next to a mattress on the floor, and
classic.
C, the piles of dirty/dirtier/dirtiest laundry lining the walls.
What do you mean? That's just
a room.
That's just a room.
We did the deed. Vigorously and to the tune of Maggie's song. No, really, he hummed the admittedly catchy melody in time with stuff, which probably was the most impressive feat of the evening.
I'm kind of a little like, again, because I know where this is going.
You don't know where this is going.
But like, that's that. I was like, that's getting cocky. Puns.
Eventually, festivities concluded, and I attended to the wrap-up of what was my first, and is still my only, one-night stand. Cab home in the wee hours, wearing the previous evening's clothing, and a bit of exhaustion the next day. Not as bad as I'd imagine it to be, actually. The F-up. Because that was not it, apparently.
Yeah.
So a bit of a tumble with a cute guy who I'd somehow inspired to write a beautiful song that I still had going through my head 3 days later.
Catchy.
And all it cost me was the price of a couple of pre-dinner drinks and some cab fare home. How is that an F-up? Well, here's how. 2 days later, I notice a couple of red welts on my calves and lower back. They itch like hell. I figure I just got bitten by mosquitoes or something and let it go. Then more welts. They heal, but then 2 weeks later I get more just like them. I think maybe I have hives, so I make a same-day appointment with my doc, expecting to be told to get some cortisone and not eat so much dairy. And he takes a look and says, "Have you ever noticed little black dots anywhere in your floor or carpet?" And I'm like, black dots? He said he couldn't be sure, but based on my description of the timing he suspected, you guessed it, bed bugs.
Oh.
And then he told me to buy some OTC Benadryl and cortisone cream and said I should try to figure out what kind of insect it might be and not get bitten by it so much. No word on the dairy. Sure enough, as soon as I got home and started looking for it, I found evidence of the little effers. Thankfully, I caught it early. I now know more than I ever wanted to about the subject. Apparently, it takes a while for an infestation to catch on, so I was lucky that I found it early. I called an exterminator, followed their instructions to the letter, and was able to prevent a biblical plague. One of the things I had to do, per exterminator instruction, was contact the owners of any place I thought I might have originally picked up the bugs.
Yeah.
Which meant I would have to get in touch with Mr. Pianist, who had been maintaining radio silence since he wrote and debuted Maggie's song.
That's falling that deeply in love with a woman that you write a song based on her, like, crazy that you wouldn't even drop her a text.
Who had been maintaining radio silence since he wrote and debuted Maggie's song and stopped its muse all in one evening. He made the usual excuse about not calling. It had been 2 weeks, so I was well over my initial disappointment.
Life just got really hectic.
So busy. And admitted that, yeah, maybe he might have some bed bugs, but they were totally not a problem. I was like, whatever. Told him he should call an exterminator and do something about it, and that was the last I heard of the guy. Except that at some point later I was telling the story to one of my girlfriends, and I got to the point where I was at the bar and he was playing piano, and then she says, "And let me guess, he wrote a song right there and named it after you." Turns out Maggie's song is also Grace's song, and Jennifer's song, and Jodie's song.
I knew it!
Or whoever's song who he happens to be trying to screw that night. Apparently he's got it down to a science. That same song goes from random twinklings on the keyboard to a full arrangement in a single evening every time.
Oh, it's so, so scummy.
My brief moment in the spotlight was shared with a number of other unsuspecting muses, at least some of whom probably went on to an evening of pleasure and parasites. And as much as, in retrospect, it was painfully obvious, That didn't make it any less painful. I felt so stupid. Years later, I would watch How I Met Your Mother and realize I'd been had by something that could have been right out of Barney Stinson's playbook.
Yeah, that's okay. So, the little scummy part of myself was like, that's a pretty good. Yeah, like I can picture myself like.
Gotta respect.
I can picture myself like, maybe this note. Like kind of pretending to write it on the spot, but that's so scummy. And the fact that he's done it to multiple women.
I can't say that I wouldn't have fallen for it.
Yeah.
I can't say.
I've never done anything like that. Like I've invited ladies over to performances. You'll remember when we started dating, I would invite you to a lot of gigs because I know like being a performer, that's kind of sexy. That makes you look good if you're doing music and me doing it well. So,
I mean, how many like young girls are just like they dream about their like the band member dating the band member, dating the guitarist, and being like in the crowd, and then the guy goes, "That girl over there,
Anyway, so I
Maggie, the song's for you."
Yeah. No, I understand why she fell for it. I think it's really scummy. Even though she says it's obvious in retrospect, I don't think it is. Like, I think that felt like a really sweet gesture, and the fact that it's just meant nothing to him, that sucks.
So, comments. And now you know where Furry Lease came from.
I'm sure Fur-Elise was actually written.
The tradition
I'm romanticizing it, but...
The tradition is that he had in his collection of music for his students, and he was finally forced to publish it with an actual name, because otherwise it was a private thing for one young thing versus another, and some bright gal insisted on seeing her name in print.
Oh, so is that actually the
It's an actual thing for Furry Lease. It's a fairly historical thing. That,
that's crazy. I wanted to romanticize it. That's like, no, that's a classic piece written for someone you love. But no, that adds up. I wonder if, like, at some point this musician will publish that piece of music and then just call it her song.
That's a good one. So, someone commented, "Give us your bugs, you're the piano man. Give us your bugs tonight."
The worst part is that he's like a scummy and like unhygienic. Like, I think if he was just, had an experience and got bed bugs from a stranger, that sucks. But the fact that he like almost manipulated her and then she got bed bugs, that sucks. Thank you so much for joining us. I think we'll definitely do a part 2. Definitely a part 2. There are a lot of these stories. It's kind of crazy. Like, the internet is full of, like, I'm happy people share these stories. Kind of think you can learn a lot from other people. So what did we learn today? Don't get scammed.
Don't spend money. Yeah, don't spend money without telling your fiance.
Yeah, don't get scammed.
Don't trust pianists.
Don't trust musicians. At all.
No. Except bass players. Bass players are safe.
Yeah, bass players. Thank you so much for joining us. If you like this kind of thing, please let us know in the comment. If you have, I guess, like, recommendations for specific stories on Reddit.
Or subreddits.
Subreddit. If you have a specific subreddit you'd like us to look at, definitely let us know. Click links and click on things. You look pretty.
Thank you.
What are you saying? I don't always look pretty. You did.